This is a Saturday morning TV log from Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. Smoking! Welcome to another Saturday morning TV log, and this time around it's The Mask, brought to us by Sunbow Productions, Dark Horse Entertainment, and New Line Television. Greetings, my fellow YouTubers. I'm Dual, the Big D to you. This is Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So this week's Saturday morning TV log is the animated series of The Mask, an American animated television series based on the 1994 film of the same name. Originally premiering on CBS in August of 1995, the show was produced by Sunbow, alongside Film Roman. I failed to notice they had co-produced with him, along with Dark Horse Entertainment and New Line Television, of course, the television subsidiary of New Line Cinema, who released the film. Anyway, this was one of the three anime series based on Jim Carrey movies that premiered the same year. Of course, later on we would get the Ace Ventura Pet Detective animated series and the Dumb and Dumber animated series as well. Now, the Ace Ventura animated series actually premiered on CBS a few months later, while the Dumb and Dumber tune, which New Line also had produced, would be on ABC. Now, the series retained major plot points from the film itself, with insecure bank clerk Stanley Ipkiss using an ancient mask to gain superpowers while taking on the mischievous personality of the mask. The major alteration is that Stanley can use the mask in daytime as well as at night. Following the events of the film, Stanley's friend and co-worker Charlie thinks that Stanley threw the mask away, but Stanley discovers that his dog retrieved it and decides to keep it. Reporter Peggy Brandt is the main female character in the series, though Stanley is upset with her for selling him out to the mob. Now, unfortunately, Tina Carlisle, who you may know, Cameron Diaz's character from the film, is absent from the series and never mentioned. Nico and Dorian, the two primary antagonists of the film, who died during the course of it, also don't appear and are never mentioned either, nor the mob. Despite having a realistic setting in the fictional town of Edgesea, the series often relies more on Tex Avery style humor and occasionally breaks any meaningful laws of reality. Now, for example, one episode featured the Goofalotuts, parodies of the Animaniacs, treating them as if they were naturally alive. Another featured the mask becoming a personal assistant to the president, with the job merely handed to him. John Arcudi, a former Mask comic writer, wrote both example episodes, a stark departure from his usual writing. Now, police officers are portrayed as idiots unable to recognize obvious clues. Also continued from the film were the Mask's frequent visits to the let me get this. Let me restart this. The Coco Bongo, a fictional glamorous nightclub frequented by the Etsy well-to-do, which was based on the Copacabana in New York City. The destruction of the Cocobongo in the episode A Company of Errors horrifies and enrages the mask and provides him with a motivation to ultimately defeat the antagonist. Oh, yes. Now, this happened each week on The Mask. The Mask would take on all sorts of crazy villains and what have you. Anyway, I really enjoyed this and what have you, and really, really, really cool. Now, it's been years since I last saw this show because I hadn't seen this show in ages since it aired on CBS. Now, it did later get shown in syndication with new episodes, but I'll get to that later. However, the series does have a pretty good set of voice actors. Rob Paulsen, who of course was one of the voice actors on Animaniacs, as well as the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, voices Stanley Ipkiss and the titular character. Well, the two each have a distinct personality, such as Stanley being shy and meek, while the mask is loud and confident, refer to the other as a separate person, and display a brotherly rivalry. Now, Stanley is conflicted about the mask and on several occasions tries to dispose it, but is forced to use it to get out of trouble, eventually coming to rely on it to fight supernatural enemies. Unlike the violent comic book original, the masked personality is a mischievous superhero who would rather go to water polo night at the Coco Bongo than fight crime and cares about Stanley despite their rivalry. Now, according to Paulson during the late 90s. He actually appeared on the Diane Marie talk show. Well, when talking about the role of the two, he says, I get to be Jim Carrey for a whole lot less cake. That's something. Now, we do also have Milo, Stanley's dog, a Jack Russell Terrier, and loyal sidekick. His vocal effects are done by voice god Frank Welker. No need to mention about what he's done. I think you know who he is. He's also a frequent wearer of the mask and is shown to be quite intelligent, able to understand some of the human language. Next, we have Lieutenant Mitch Kellaway in this, voiced by Neil Ross. And this time, he's much more of a mean one than in the movie. A grumpy detective lieutenant of the EDC Police Department who is overzealous in blaming the mask for every big crime and disaster and linking the mask to other criminals and villains. For this attention, Calloway is a frequent victim of the mask's atomic wedgies. Then we have Detective Doyle, voiced by Jim Cummings, who, of course, was well known for voicing various cartoons from Disney, like Winnie the Pooh and several others. He's Calloway's dim-witted and lazy partner who is somewhat friendly to the mask and thinks of him more a hero than a villain. Peggy is voiced by Heidi Shannon, a tabloid reporter who mends her friendship with Stanley by rescuing him several times after having sold him out to the mob. Well, her career ambitions often put her in compromising situations from which the mask rescues her. She is resourceful in outwitting certain rogues and shows a motherly affection for the mask. And then there's Charlie Schumacher, voiced by Mark L. Taylor. He's the manager at the bank where Stanley works. He's Stanley's best friend and usually looks out for himself, pursues women, and takes advantage of Stanley as his friend. Though he promises to help Stanley's career, he's unhappy when Stanley finds success. Now, there are other characters in this, including Dr. Arthur Newman, voiced by Ben Stein, who is actually the only actor from the movie to appear in this. And actually, it's the same person he voiced, played in this. Newman is Stanley's therapist. Now, he believes that the mask is the suppressed side of Stanley, who wants to be outrageous and impulsive. In one episode, he wears the mask and becomes a psychotic, delusional, cartoonish, and polite supervillain who believes a disorder called ipkisia maskosis is the cause of people believing the mask is real and teamed up with Pretorius to archive it. Who I'll get to him in a moment. Mayor Mortimer Tilton's another one, voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson, who of course later went on to do voice acting work for Family Guy. He's a corrupt mayor of Etsy, and despite his selfishness, he's a person of genuine gratitude and often thanks the mask for saving the city and frees him from any legal trouble that he causes. It's the opposite version of the character, the opposite of the film Tilton, named as Mitchell, who is more straightforward and compassionate of ending the corruption. Then there's his nerdy assistant Smedley, voiced by Cam Clark, another voice actor from Ninja Turtles. Then there's Agnes Penman, Stanley's cranky landlord, voiced by Tress MacNeille, who recently lent her voice to cartoons like Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, Tiny Two Adventures, and of course Animaniacs. And there's lots of crazy villains he takes on. Now, one of those is one I mentioned, Dr. Septimus Pretorius, voiced by Tim Curry. I think you know that name. He's the primary antagonist, a mad scientist who had his own head removed from his body and placed on tiny spider-like robotic legs, which could attach to a larger android body. And his plans revolve around either obtaining or controlling the mask. Let's see, there's Lonnie the Shark, voiced by Glenn Shaggs, a biker gang leader who has sharp teeth and a hairdo that resembles a shark's fin. And there's his sidekick Pete, voiced by Charlie Adler, who of course recently lent his voice to Tiny Toons, as well as Paddington Bear, Brave Star, and this was still before voicing the titular characters of Cartoon Network's Cow and Chicken. Yeah. Let's see, The Terrible Two. Dak, voiced by Cam Clark, and Eddie, voiced by Jeff Bennett, who later went on to do some numerous work. They're two slow-witted comic book obsessed teenage boys who expose themselves to radiation with the intention of becoming superheroes, but only for it to go terribly wrong. Dak becomes the putty thing, while Eddie becomes the useless fish guy. Yeah. Let's see. Skillet, a mischievous imp who hails from the Shadowland and can suck the shells from people, which preserves his youth while aging his victims. Originally voiced by Jason Marsden in the first season and Benny Grant in season 2. Let's see, Kablamis, voiced by Jim Cummings in a homage to the late great Sterling Hallway, who of course was the original voice of Winnie the Pooh, as well as Kaa in the Jungle Book. A green-haired man who had a chemical accident while experimenting on an unbreakable balloon and gained the power to blow himself up like a balloon and explode without dying. Wilhelmina Babask, voiced by the late great Conchata Ferrell, who of course later appeared in movies like Mr. Deeds as well as TV's Two and a Half Men. Oh, she's a female criminal who's known crimes for dog napping, grand theft auto, and assault at a police precinct. There's some. Oh, believe me, the list goes on. And, like Stanley's reformed high school bully Chet Bozak, voiced by Dan Castellaneta, the voice of a certain Homer Simpson. And let's see. Well, there's so many. Cookie Baboom, voiced by Cree Summer, who voiced Elmira on Tiny Toons, and numerous other characters. Yeah, and Channel Surfer, voiced by Gary Owens, who, of course, the announcer of Rowan Martin's Laugh In, voice actor behind Roger Ramjet, Space Ghost, The Blue Falcon on Dyma, Dog Wonder. And of course, this was after he recently voiced Farrell in SWAT Cats, The Radical Squadron. Oh, but believe me, oh, the list goes on. There's other voice actors, including Kat Susie, Susan Silo, Kenny Milo, Stuart Pankin, Jess Harnell, Bud Cort, Carlos Alazraki, and even Jonathan Harris. Yes, as in the guy who most people know best as Dr. Zachary Smith of Lost in Space fame. Anyway, after its first season of being run on CBS, the show later got sent to syndicate, was dropped and was sent to syndication to Boba Entertainment, which aired part of their newly created weekday broadcast of their Amazing Adventures block. However, the show did continue to air on CBS through its first season, but after that, the show, after its run in syndication in the spring of, I think it was about spring of '97. If I'm not mistaken, let me check. I'm real fast with this. No, in the late in not late. I'm getting sidetracked here. In summer of 1997, the show returned to CBS for a few more episodes. After an overall total of 54 episodes produced and aired through 3 seasons, The Mask was canceled in August of 1997. It later aired on the Fox Family Channel, which was the only thing. It did air on Cartoon Network and Boomerang, but unfortunately overseas in other countries. However, and well, after that, it had never been seen again. But after 24 years after it was last seen on the Fox Family Channel in 2000, the show got to come back on the MeTV Tunes network last year. And they are every episode have been airing the episodes, including one episode that some markets in overseas on Cartoon Network and Boomerang didn't air. Flight as a Feather, uncut and uncensored. Now I don't have me TV tunes, but and also this unfortunately mostly airs in the early bird late night hours. But anyway, check your local listings if you have the MeTV Tunes channel in your area. Now, like I said, it's been a long time since I last saw this. It's tough to find episodes of this here on online and what have you. Now, the only place I think you can find most of these episodes would probably be the Internet Archive. I do know someone actually has the first season. I'm not really sure about the rest, though, unfortunately. On YouTube, you can only find the intros and clips from the show. So I wish you the best of luck in finding this. But this is a show I would recommend you watch if you liked the actual movie itself, which I'm sure a lot of you did. So you watch this and you'll be laughing your crazy hell before you can say, "Somebody stop me!" But anyway, it's really cool. Actually, as a matter of fact, Ace Ventura actually appeared in an episode of this, as a matter of fact. So, anyway, The Mask is one outrageously fun show. Now, here's a look at some of the stuff you'll see. Throughout the Mask animated series, you'll see the Mask, of course, take on different costumes as well, just like in the movie. This is kind of like a little concept art. Well, I can't really well, show much footage. Well, even though I could show some with no audio, but I'm scared I might get in trouble with Warner Brothers. So I humbly apologize if I don't show you much of this. But I believe a lot of you have. I believe some of y'all have seen this show. Now, if you have seen the Mask animated series, let me know what you thought about it in the comment section below. If you like this video, consider clicking the like button. Subscribe and be a part of the Big D Nation. Continue to help support my channel, make it grow and make the views grow. Tell all your friends about my channel. Get them to know me. Maybe they'd like to be a part of my Big D Nation and share my vids with your friends if you'd like. And stay tuned later on tonight. I will give you a spoiler-free review of The Last Rodeo and expect an out the year reaction as well. So I do hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, check out Saturday Morning TV logs of some of these other movie tunes. In the upper left hand corner is the Saturday Morning TV log on Teen Wolf from 1986, or go to the upper right hand corner and see the Saturday Morning TV log on. Let's. Please stand by. Beep, beep. Take two. So if you like the Saturday Morning TV log of the Mask animated series, check out these other fun-filled shows. If you like another movie-based tune, check out the Saturday Morning TV log on the Teen Wolf cartoon from 1986. Or if you want some more zany superheroes, check out the Saturday Morning TV log on Road Rovers from 1996. Or if you'd like, check out my review of the movie itself, The Mask, from 1994 in the bottom left-hand corner. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., as well as the Saturday Morning TV log, then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching, and next week's Saturday Morning TV log is Bailey Kipper's POV. So until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.